So I would like to introduce you to urBAD4308. Now, this is an interesting one because I'd assume a player like this would be like, oh, I'm so good at the game, blah, blah, blah. Level 61, relatively new, like I said, you know, that's whatever it is, 61, whatever you want to call it. But he's basically negative in most of the vehicles he plays on his account. He's all Sweden, with the way this account is, and he's negative in the current vehicle he's playing. The only vehicle at this BR that he's high tier, or, you know, above a certain BR with this is the Leopard 1A5NO, which is the Norwegian Leopard 1A. But you can see, this is Fields of Normandy, same thing as always, staring at people through everything. I think he gets 5 kills before he goes down, but, you know, of course, he's shooting through all manner of everything, and shooting through, you know, over a kilometer away at stuff you literally cannot see. I'm going to go look over a couple things in this. I compiled a list of questions and comments I've seen from my videos in the past basically week or two, and I wanted to kind of go over them pretty briefly in this video. You'll see him cheating in the background, and he actually gets pretty screwed over. He goes, you know, on a tear, and then, you know, he goes on a tear and then gets shot down pretty quickly in his jet later on. But I'll go through this real quickly. So I want to re-clarify again that I'm very well aware that the guy in the last video, or the video before, was not an AVR player. It's the reason why I did a correction video. It's the reason why I know what's going on. It's the reason why I get it. I get it, guys. He's not an AVR player. Okay? I understand. I get how that works. I made a mistake in my first video. I originally said it was an allegedly thing because I wasn't quite sure of the information at the time, and then I re-corrected it with a video. I'm very well aware. End of story with that. I also am going to go from the top down with these questions I see. So do I think all of the cheaters in this game are Russian or Chinese? I believe it's pretty much a combination of both. I see a lot more Chinese sites selling entire bot accounts and scripts like that. But like I said before, I pretty am sure that it's really just, you know, whatever it is. And then there's probably American ones. There's probably Canadian. There's probably a bunch of nationalities that do this stuff. So we just don't really know. It's a lot of it is cultural, and that's just what it is at this point. Do I think cheaters are sad? Yes. Do I think cheater battles happen at higher BRs? Yes, pretty much. Almost every cheater site I've seen advertises accounts with premiums. Usually, almost always, they are 10.0 and above. That's literally just what they are. They're selling the top tier premiums because that's what the accounts are worth, and that's what people can grind with pretty quick through trees, and that's just what it is. There's no real way around that. Here's a good one. Do I think squadron battles are rigged? No. I absolutely do not. Do I think there possibly are some squadrons that have cheaters in them unknowingly? Yes. People who cheat as a, you could say, profession, or cheat as a, I'm saying that with quotes, basically. Cheat in a manner that's hidden. Yes, I would say that there's probably are some squadrons that are not playing legitimately. I'm not going to name names because I don't know. Yes, but there is almost no real reason to say that they are rigged. That's so much effort for a person to do, considering the lead squadrons get, what, like 10K GE for, I think, the leader, basically. So there's not much incentive for that, and then it's really just a bragging right in a video game. That's what it is. It'd be more controversial if it was, say, the esports team cheating, but I don't think that's the case either. There's no really reason behind it, and I obviously, like I said before, I don't feel like this game is esports ready and never will be unless a lot of this stuff is figured out. Next question, do I think people abuse ULQ too much? Yeah, I do, but in reality, that's really just an issue for Gaijin to handle. And unless Gaijin does like a system scan of your PC to make sure you can run this game properly, that's the only way they're really going to be able to fix that, because there's no other way to, I mean, technically they do a scan of your PC. They recommend you ideal settings. The problem is they can't force you to use certain graphic settings, because sometimes people like they like their screen to look the way they want to, so they can't force it. That's the whole point of it. Do I think console players deserve a reticle? Yes and no. I believe console players deserve a reticle up to a certain BR. The problem is I don't know how guys are going to be able to implement that, because it's a hard thing to implement, and reason why I say up to 6.7 or 7.7, for instance, is because you get your first like radar AAs popping up at around 7.7. I think the ZSU 23 or 37 is the first one we really get, as well as like the 163. Even though that's not technically radar, it's still a lead indicator. I say like that's the thing. I say up to a certain point they would deserve it, but that's about it. Because with missile AAs, you can basically peer through clouds, and they can just look up at you with their reticles and just kill you through clouds. And I know a lot of console players that I've talked to that find it incredibly unfair that that is the case. So that's honestly what I think. Should console players be allowed a mouse and keyboard? Yeah, I do. I really don't think they shouldn't be allowed a mouse and keyboard. There's so many so many keybinds in this game that a mouse and keyboard makes sense. The thing is, if they get mouse and keyboard, it should turn off the reticle. That's point and simple. If you swap to a console, or if you're on a console and you have mouse and keyboard, at that point I don't believe you deserve a reticle anymore, because you have the ability to move in a way that PC players move. That's really simple. Will BattlEye help? It's a potential. I really don't know enough about it. As we all know, cheating is going to be an issue in the game until Gaijin actually resolves anything. And we don't know if they actually will resolve anything with this, so we really don't know. It's really just is up to Gaijin. Lastly, this is the one I get a lot. Is Gaijin selling cheats? This is a very, very doubtful thing. Mainly because there's so many different sites at this point selling cheats that I really kind of just doubt that that is occurring. I'm going to pause it here because the replay is going to go on further. So in that case, do I think Gaijin is selling it? No, I really don't. There's no incentive for them to do it and then ban a bunch of people in regards to it, and that's the thing. The only thing I would say it is that people realize that EAC is now the anti-cheat. They know how to exploit the EAC in a nutshell as their profession, because they are cheat makers, and they are making cheats from that point on. That's just what it is. There's a lot of companies that I know that doing research based on this are, making them because they know how to exploit EAC. If Gaijin doesn't switch off EAC to BattlEye or vice versa, or adds on to it with BattlEye, potentially makes it a little bit harder for them to do it, but we know that there still is going to be cheaters. There might be less, we just don't know. At this point, it's really, as always, it's up to Gaijin to resolve the problem at hand. And that's a wait-and-see thing. I'm hoping they care about their game security, considering they've had some major issues with, obviously, the custom game craziness and the player with network exploits causing some major issues to the game. Because if it gets worse, it's going to get real bad. So, if you have any more questions or stuff you want to leave in the comments, I will get to a compilation of all these again, because I like reading through all these, and it's really fun to answer them as is. And if you have a person in question, please try to follow my format below: player, ID, and replay, and a brief description of the person you saw in the replay, and I will respond in kind if I record a replay for them, or if I think they're not cheating, or I'll give you my opinion on it. As always, I hope you have a good rest of your morning, day, evening, or night, and have a good one.